you always knew that you need to work with the producer, or you kind of tried to
by myself?
But yeah,
no, I like never in my mind did I think that I could produce anything by myself, because I didn't have a clear grasp of what it entails. Like I know I can record myself on the piano, but I wouldn't know what software to use or how to how to start even. Perhaps in the future, obviously in a couple of years I'll learn more, and I've already learned a lot from you. But I think to have another musician to have their input into your music makes the music richer, because it now not only contains the soul of one person, it contains the soul of two people. And if you have another musician on it, then there's three souls in there, So even if I myself become an educated enough producer to be able to do it on my own, I don't think I'd ever want to sit there and do it just on my own. How many years have you had this sort of setup where you have a studio at home?
Well, I work in the studio as a producer for 20 years, 17 years. But beside this, I do other stuff. Like I perform outside. I play drums. I play piano. I do live sound for different bands and events. But mainly I work in a studio, and it's been like for a while. The industry and the technology changed so much. Let's say last 10 years. Everything became so accessible, and the technology and the knowledge and everything. So it kind of became natural to have a home studio and more efficient.
Have you ever done work similar to the kind that we did together? So working with a singer-songwriter and doing a full album?
I worked with more than 100 singer-songwriters, artists.
The artist's involvement in the production, would you say it differs?
Involvement in a production is so much different. For example, with you, I love working with you because we not a single note or sound was kind of created or put without your involvement, right? We created from zero to final product together. Some artists they bring a song to me. Okay, here's a song, here's a melody, make it happen, and they
contact me when you're done.
Send me when it's done, right? Yeah. I love seeing smile on the artist's face, right? I love hearing that. Oh, it sounds so much better than I was expected, right? So for me, it's like it's not just to kind of please my ego. No, I love seeing people, kind of touching a dream. The artists, they're putting their soul, right, in their songs, right? Yeah. I always say when you see people posting kind of stories or pictures of themselves on the internet, right? They think they kind of put their themselves out there. But it's not like songwriters, artists. They're putting their soul out there, right? It's like the inner, very sacred part. So I love seeing how I can help, kind of to clothe their dream in music. Were you afraid or hesitant to work with a producer? Someone that will kind of take your music and will do something with your music.
In my mind, I knew that whoever I find, then it would be like we were working on this together. From the very first session, I told you I want to be present at every stage. I wasn't worried that a producer would take the song and do something else with it, because I was very much looking forward to collaborating and making the instrumentation together. How would you define the role of the producer?
Producer sounds like a corporate kind of corporate role. I don't know, but look, there are two types of producers. There's executive producer and there's music producer. I'm a music producer, right? I produce music. There's everything there. I take a song, and it can be in the form of just a phone memo. It can be just a little melody and some simple chords, or it can be just a melody So I take this and I create full arrangement, orchestration around it. People call it instrumental track, right around it. I mix it, I master it, and it involves everything: performing, playing, editing, mixing, arranging, a lot of technical stuff, and also a lot of musical stuff, right?
What do you mean technical stuff and musical stuff?
Well, technical, you have to know how to record, you have to know how to edit audio. Basically, these days, producers, most of them, they are also engineers. And by the way, I'm sound engineer by profession as well, so it's kind of helped me to be able to produce quick and efficient, because this is technical. But also, producing it's a lot of music stuff. Like you have to know
music theory.
Yeah, chords and harmony, and voicing and instruments, right? Ranges, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So before working with me, did you know what producer does?
I had a pretty good understanding, and now that almost a year has passed, in retrospect, I can tell that my understanding was pretty good. And I knew that like a music producer is somebody who is responsible for the instrumentation, for create, as you said, clothing the song. I remember, in the first couple of days, and I was sitting here and literally without the faintest idea of how marketing works or where I would even start. But because you gave me, the suggestions and the advice that you gave me, like, listen to the Entrepreneur podcast, or read this book by Ari Hairstand, who helps independent artists, you kind of, in that moment, became not just a musician or a producer, but you started mentoring me. Like I feel like I can always come to you for advice because you have such a breadth of knowledge and you have so many contacts, and you're always willing to help out and give suggestions and advice. And I feel like you're helping me move further, and it's like very invaluable. You mentioned sound engineering, and I've previously, before I started working with you, I never heard of such a title or a skill. So if you had to explain sound engineering to a person who doesn't know anything about it, how would you describe it?
Sound engineer is someone who knows how to record sound, how to record, how to edit, how to work with different sounds. There's like this full spectrum, right, from let's say 20 hertz to 20k, and the different instruments and different voices, they have different frequencies. So sound engineer, it's one who knows how to work with frequencies, how to make space, and in this spectrum, sound engineer can do mastering. Not all of them, but for example, I do mastering as well. I just work with audio to make it sound pleasant, beautiful.
Right. There's also that thing that you do where you sample a guitar sound and then reverse it and compress it and do all of these effects. Or for example, when you record my voice, make a sound and then you compress it and you create a percussion out of it. Is that something that's unique to a sound engineer? Well,
you see, this is already where we like in this kind of crossover area. It's like when I tweak your voice and I put different effects and I reverse it and I put the distortion on or whatever, like a crasher with beat crasher. So at this moment I'm engineer and producer, right? So I take my idea as a producer, creative idea, but I know how to implement it.
How to execute it.
Yeah, how to execute it, yes.
Right.
Back in the days, probably was divided by two people, right?
Really?
Producer would say, okay, I want to hear this voice in a lower frequency and a bit far away. And the engineer would,
make it happen.
Make it happen, yeah.
Oh.
So the engineer would put reverb, would like tweak some frequencies and whatever. But these days, you have to know to do it as a producer. You have to know how to do it. Yeah. I personally feel kind of very much confident when I produce, when I work with artists, because I know how to do it. I know how to do stuff technically. Plus, I have these creative ideas that I can I can make it happen. I can implement. So these three things, for example, being a musician, engineer, and producer, these three things, they're, how do you say, like they're like
They feed each other.
Yeah, feed each other, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about process, right? So tell me a bit from your perspective, from day one, right? When you came and you kind of you decided to work with a producer, right? And you contact me and we met. So let's start from there. Like how was the process for you?
Well, after I sent you that first email in April of 2018, no, 2019, that was the day for me that it started, and I immediately knew what would be song number one. The process started with, well, let's rehearse it at home so that when you come to the studio you can play it properly. And and then we started. You know, the process of creation was then and still is very humbling to me, because it was like creating from nothing to, well, in terms of instrumentation, from nothing to this whole epic thing that it is now. But like, I remember how we like spent a whole session just finding the right drum, and then finding the right bass, and then finding the right pad, and it was just like seeing something like this happen to my song, and it's like, oh my god, like, look how carefully he's selecting this drum. Like, it's been 2 hours and he's still looking for this drum. Like, every sound is like customized and everything is so carefully selected, and it's like, that's when I knew it was like, I don't want to ever not do this. Like, I don't want to ever stop doing this. Like, to have someone else who has a musical understanding hear your song and you know, have a genuine emotional reaction to it and come up with all of these instruments for it is really cool. The day one of every song is always similar. So I come in with a prepared song, start to finish, 90% of the time. A prepared song for me is, well, I write the song at home on the piano, so I come here with a fully finished, you know, verses and choruses and bridge. I'll sit down, I'll play the piano guide track on the piano, then I'll get up, get behind the mic, and record a vocal guide, which is just like a rough draft of me singing, so as to inspire with my tone and emotion the kind of direction that the song would go production-wise. And then you ask me, you know, what the mood of the song is and what it's about in general, to get an idea of you know, we always spend, I think, at least, you know, 20 to 30 minutes talking about which direction we're going, because I don't think any one song on this album has a twin to it. Like, they're all rather different. We have like a dream pop, and we have alternative rock. That's one thing that I really liked, is that we were very free. We didn't have any constraints, and we really just chose a different direction for every song just because we felt like it.
During this, you know, whole process of working on album, 9 tracks, right?
Yes.
Have you ever felt that whoa, I mean, this song that I imagined this way is turning in a completely different direction?
Yeah, Lionheart was never intended to be a happy, bright song, and yet it's the brightest, happiest song on this album. When I played it on the piano to myself at home, or if I showed it to a friend, it was very melancholic, it was very sad, and like the last thing that I would picture it is like the kind of dance, groovy song as it is now. And I think it happened because when I said, let's try synth with it, and you played the intro melody with the synth, my mind just went like, it just became this record, you know, about celebrating life. And I'm so happy, because that's really, I feel like subconsciously that's what the song was meant to be. It was written in a sad state of mind, but now it's celebratory. Remember this on your mark. The world is not only light and dark, and the chase may not end in our way. And if you want to survive, you need to learn how to be alive. Every choice that you make is a gift. Remember race, on your mark. The world is not only light and dark, and the chase may not end in a win. And if you want to survive, you need to learn how to be alive. Every choice that you make is a gift.